Greetings, my dear brothers and sisters in Christ. So I'm going to make this video kind of short. I just wanted to talk about the last parade that me and my daughter did. That was the Sheboygan one. I put out a couple of videos about that. So we got out about 450-ish gospel tracts, maybe closer to 500, just somewhere around there. And I just wanted to talk about that real quick because one of the best things about doing a parade is that you can get out so many gospel tracts. I mean, one person can get out 500 gospel tracts in a single parade. Now, we started maybe, what was it, like 10, 15 minutes later after the parade started. I just wanted to let the parade get along for a little bit. And we took a lot of breaks, actually. The amount of time that I was actually handing out gospel tracts wasn't the totality of those two videos I posted, but it wasn't much more than that. I mean, it could have been like 25 minutes maybe. And we were still able to get out 500-ish gospel tracts, 450, 500, somewhere around there. So that should be a huge encouragement. It was a lot of fun. There are so many good reasons why Christians should consider doing a parade. One of the other things is that, excuse me, just had a meal, just had dinner, so I'm still coughing and stuff. That's why my throat's kind of weird. I'm not sick. But when you are done doing a parade, you just have so much confidence after. You have so much energy. Like, it is absolutely amazing. Like, when I'm done, like, I don't care. There's, like, no nervousness whatsoever. I'm just going up to random people. This is after the parade. Just, hey, did you get one of these? Gospel tract for you. That's what I'm doing. I have all the confidence in the world, no fear in the world. And that's what happens after you do a parade for a little bit. Like, before a parade, you might have that nervousness. Even for someone like me who's probably done like 50 parades since 2013, still get nervous beforehand. But once you get going and do a little bit, there is a tremendous amount of energy, and it's so awesome. So I really hope that someone out there is seeing these videos, being encouraged, and will consider doing a parade. My idea when I made this channel was to get other churches aware of parade events. That's originally why this channel was created, so I had video proof of parades, so they can see that and hopefully encourage their people. And my idea was to get entire communities saturated with the gospel message. And not only that, but it would encourage Christians to go out there and share the gospel. Maybe it'll get their feet wet to sharing the gospel, and they can see how easy it is, and they can go out and do so much more, even beyond parades. That's my hope. I really hope that this channel is doing something in people. Like, I don't want to make these videos for like entertainment purposes. You know, sometimes I think Christians watch good Christian content, but they do it just because it's in a form of entertainment. You know, like we may not necessarily get something out of it, but we just watch it because it's good, it's clean, it's entertainment in a sense. You know, I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but I want to be. I mean, this isn't the greatest quality content. I film from not a very spectacular phone, so the film quality isn't that great, but I don't think it needs to be. It shouldn't need to be. I just want to give these ideas out there for those who are really willing to get the gospel out. I hope it's a blessing. Excuse me. If I look like junk right now, it's because I just got done with work not too long ago. Came home, ate a meal, and here I am. So, I think that's it. Please, guys, there's still Christmas parades. It's December 1st right now. Not too much more to go. I mean, depending on where you live. Most parades are wrapping up in my area because of cold weather. But this Saturday, we have 8 parades going on. In a single day, 8 parades. And I don't know if I can make any of them because of my work schedule. This time of the year, it's really hard for me to make anything. I'll try to make one of them later on. But what's kind of frustrating to me, I guess, is that, you know, I talk so highly about doing parades, and local Christians, like, I never hear from anyone who's even excited about it. You know, I post on Facebook all the time. There's a Facebook group called Evangelism Wisconsin for people who live in Wisconsin. A lot of people in there now post about all these different events and stuff, especially parades and other things. And you can actually see like how many people have seen that post, right? You can click on it and see all the different people that see the post. And like literally no more than like maybe two people will ever, either like it, which signifies that, they're excited about the gospel going out, or they're praying, or whatever, or they'll comment, but nobody else, it's just they just don't seem to care. And it's the same thing locally in my own, my own private Facebook page, and all the Christians in the area. But that's been an issue for ages. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that you have to do a parade, and if you don't, then there's something wrong with you. I'm just saying, where's the excitement? Like, you don't know how exciting it is until you actually do it. Again, there is an energy that you have when you are done. You have, like, you feel invincible. You really do. Like, you don't care if, like, you do a parade, it's like you just want to go knock on every single door and tell everybody about Christ. You have that energy in you. You don't have that nervousness anymore. And I just, oh man, it's frustrating because I know how awesome it is to do something like this. Again, I'm not saying you have to do it, but when you know how awesome it is to do something like this, you just want everybody else to participate. But then when you find out that like nobody cares, I'm talking again from my like personal experience in this area. I'm not talking about through this channel. Um, it's just it's a real bummer. You want to see the gospel proclaimed, and it's already really hard to find Christians who are passionate about getting the gospel out. And then I don't want to come off as somebody who wants a pat on the back. That is absolutely not me at all. Like, I don't even want to be known for what I do, or seen or anything like that. But I will tell people sometimes, because I'm excited about what just happened. Like, just recently I made a post like, oh, me and my daughter gave out 500 gospel tracts um, in such a short amount of time. And I say that um, meaning to not congratulate myself, but because I always add another sentence after that saying, we have more parades coming up, guys. I'm just saying this so you can see how easy it is. And I'm hoping you can participate. That's the only reason why I would ever share that information. But when I do, it's a deafening thud of silence. You don't, I mean, other than hearing from people who are already involved in evangelism in some way, shape, or form, the rest of the church, I mean, guys, you want to know what's funny? So I have, obviously this ministry here, Parade the Gospel. I've had it now for about 4 years, and it's sad and kind of funny at the same time. But like the people that I go to church with, and I'm not trying to dog on anybody, but not one single time has anybody ever said anything about this ministry. Like, not, I post the videos and such, and just nothing. Even when I post other content about Christianity, just nobody cares. And the church I've been to before that, it's been the same exact thing. Nobody cares. It's always just so frustrating to me. I don't understand. I know I'm getting kind of off topic. Well, maybe not really. I mean, it is about really easy ways to get the gospel out. But I always talk about that. I wanted to make another post or another video tonight, kind of talking more about this. So I don't want to go into it too much right now. I don't know if I will or not, but it's just, if you can't get excited about the really easy ways to share the gospel, maybe I should rephrase that, because I never see people excited about the gospel just going forth in general, no matter who's doing it. Like, nobody ever talks about it. Nobody's excited about it. They're more excited about talking about the Packer game when church is done. Everybody's out the door. As soon as the last amen is said, the last song is sung, it's a whirlwind of fluttering bulletins and everybody's out the door, right? Just getting on with life. And that's, we're not coming together. We're not planning. We're not trying to reach the lost. I'm debating on what video I want to do tonight. After this, I'm thinking about talking about when was the last time you guys personally have seen evangelism training taught anywhere, in your city or whatever. For me, it was, let's see, once. I've been a Christian for 21 years. I can think of one time on one day, a Saturday in 2013. This is shortly after I met my friend Trevor. He taught evangelism. He was just was given the opportunity to just do it for one day. And, It's always on some back corner of the week where, not everybody can show up. And he taught it, and it was never really practiced after that by the people that were there. So, kind of frustrating. But one time, and I'm pretty familiar with what's going on in churches in the area. I don't have like full 100% knowledge, sure, but I'm pretty well aware. And again, just that one time. There was another time my friend Luke was able to teach, but it was a youth group, and it really irks me that if evangelism is ever taught, it's always relegated to the youth. Let's just practice it on the youth. Yes, you can have that. It's always put upon the youth who are still in that stage of, I'm just going to church because my parents are going. They're still in that stage. They can't defend the faith worth anything. And that's who we want to send out to spread the gospel. And it's just, where are the men in the church who want to take that upon themselves? Where are those people? So my friend Luke was able to teach it in youth group for the duration of, it was the Way of the Master biblical training course, which is 8 weeks or something. And I think it only got to week maybe 3 or 4. It was just a disaster. I mean, I think it was 3 people. One of the people was the girlfriend that was there, who brought his or her atheist boyfriend. That's who we're teaching evangelism to, right? I mean, it was opportunity, sure, for him to share the gospel with both of them. Really, they both need it, and even where she's at now just proves that proves that for sure. But then there was just other things about that. It was just it didn't work out. But it's so sad. When is evangelism going to be taught? When are we going to take it seriously? And what I'm hoping, or what my role is to help encourage local Christians and Christians abroad, but especially local Christians, when I make these videos and such, or when I talk about it on Facebook, when I try to talk about it in person at church. I got a lot of experience with that. You mentioned evangelism. It's funny. You can see it in their eyes. All of a sudden, they don't want to talk to you anymore. The conversation can be going fantastic, but when you talk about, as soon as you bring up evangelism, it's like they don't want to talk about it anymore. I'll tell one story, and this is kind of the story that I usually share when I want to give a good glimpse of just the totality of what's going on. It's a great picture. I don't know if I shared it on my channel before, but I usually don't share these things on my YouTube channel. I talk more about this stuff on Facebook when nobody cares anyway. But so some years ago, it was Labor Day, or the weekend, the day before Labor Day, because it was Kite Fest in Two Rivers, and me and my daughter were going to go and share the gospel at Kite Fest. It's a huge event. It can attract 30,000 people to Two Rivers. Why not think of it as an opportunity for an outreach, right? So it was Sunday morning, and we were at a church. I'm not going to say which church, if it was our church or a different church, doesn't matter. And so how most churches, or a lot of churches, will say something like, hey, service is done. If you want to come up for prayer for anything, please do. Talk to an elder. We'll pray for you. So I turned to Chloe, and I'm like, hey, Chloe, do you want prayer for anything? And she said just the most beautiful thing that just melted my heart. She's like, yeah, I want prayer for everyone in the world to hear about Christ. So, something like that, right? And I'm like, so sweet. Now, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or anything, but your kids are only going to say that if they know that you value that's of an interest in you. And she was a lot younger at this time. This is probably 3 years ago, I think. So she's probably 9. Anyway, so we go up. There's an elder. I'm like, hey, so yeah, we're up for prayer. Chloe, you want to tell him what you wanted prayer for? She wanted prayer for something. And she was nervous to tell him. So then I said, what she wanted prayer for. And he just gushes. First he gushes about how awesome that is and how cool that she has that heart. Then he goes into the prayer and just gushes, before God, like, oh, Chloe has such a beautiful heart and this and that. It's such a great thing, right? But afterwards, then I said, it's really awesome that she wanted prayer for that, because we just so happened to later this afternoon, we're going to go out to Two Rivers to Kite Fest, and we're going to share the gospel. Now, I didn't even say what we're going to do, so he didn't have any indication that we're going to go and, do preaching, because sometimes people, when they hear the word preaching, it scares them, and they think of these YouTube videos that they may have seen, like, oh, well, all preaching is therefore bad, because one person does it wrong, which doesn't make any sense. One person does, a pastor does preaching wrong in a church. Does that mean that we should stop all Bible-based preaching inside churches? No, that's a ridiculous argument, but that's what people do. Anyway, as soon as I said that, and I said it happily, and I was excited, the atmosphere completely changed. So remember, I was just telling you about how he was just gushing with enthusiasm and happiness and excitement over what Chloe's heart was. And everything just changed after that. Like, he didn't want to talk anymore. He wanted to change the subject right away. And that is a perfect picture of church, I think, in my opinion, at large. Obviously, some churches might be different, but perfect picture. We'll talk highly about evangelism and sharing the gospel with people in sermons, but no, we're never going to talk about how to do that. We're never going to train people. Don't you dare, Kurt, ever talk about evangelism. And that's what I kind of got in my previous church. Lots of stories there, even to the point where they said street evangelism is unbiblical. Anyway, yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, so I kind of joke around when I share that story, and I say, well, maybe he had a sudden onset of explosive diarrhea, and all he could think about was just getting to the nearest bathroom. I try to give him the benefit of the doubt, right? But no, this story happens again and again and again, just in different ways. You talk to someone at church, conversations are going great, it's all happy, and as soon as you bring up evangelism, they want to change the subject, they're done talking with you, it gets uncomfortable. The gospel is what saved our souls. Why are we not wanting to talk about that and not wanting to get that out? Like, I just don't understand for the life of me. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone or something. Like, just, nothing makes sense. Again, there's some people that are passionate about the gospel, but by and large, most professing believers don't seem to be. So, excuse me. Anyway, back to maybe I'll just keep this all one video rather than making the second one like I was going to do. So we're not teaching evangelism. It was taught once that I know of, besides, that kind of failed attempt with my friend Luke. And he did a great job. It's not what I'm saying. It was just the circumstances, and the adults never wanted to get involved. I've heard a rumor that another church in the area tried to teach their youth as well. Actually, I take that back. As a second rumor, just recent, not rumor because it's true, that was mentioned. At least they talked about the importance in their youth group of spreading the gospel. I don't think they actually did training, but it's weird, guys. Like, why are we not actively trying to learn how to share the gospel? I purchased the Way of the Master training course. I think I have it in this room over here in my pile of mess, but bought that, I think, in 2015, hoping that, there's going to be a lot of people that want to do this with me, and 6 years later, I haven't found a single person who's interested. I mean, I got some use out of it, at least, because somebody borrowed it, so there was that. But that was, somebody who's been doing stuff already, so it's frustrating. But anyway, to bring it full circle, we gave out 450-ish gospel tracts, and it's exciting. It's awesome. You just have so much joy in the Lord. You can really feel that, and that confidence just overwhelms you. It's just so awesome, and share that with the church, hoping that everyone's going to be excited and on board. They just don't care. Sometimes I'll get flack from people like, oh, well, they're just going to throw it away anyway. And I think I talked about this in like one of my first parade training videos, like one of the first videos I did. If you go way back, if you go my video list and you go to like oldest videos first, it's maybe like the third video or something like that. I think I was driving to a parade down in Sheboygan, which is where we were just a couple of days ago, and I was just talking about that. My response to when people say that, oh, they're just going to throw it away right away. Yeah, when you share the gospel verbally, they're just going to throw it away too, in a sense, one in one ear and out the other. It's not your responsibility. I mean, you do the best you can do. You give God the glory. With the grace that God has given you, you do the best that you can do, but it's not your responsibility to save them in the sense that it's your fault if that person doesn't get saved. No, God's word goes forth and accomplishes exactly what it was sent out to do, right? Isaiah 55:11. You know, if they throw it away, and most people probably do, I acknowledge that. You have to understand that. You have to understand the heart of man. So, does that mean you're just not going to share the gospel? I mean, what kind of ridiculousness is that? We're commanded to share the gospel. And it doesn't matter what the response of the person is going to be. Your faithfulness is what's important. Now, we hope and we pray that that seed lands in good soil, right? Not always going to happen, but you're still serving the Lord. Isn't that important? Isn't it important to you that you're participating in the salvation of somebody's soul? Now, of course, again, ultimately it's God, but He's using you for that. The God of the universe. And this is the gospel that saved your soul. How can you not be excited to want to share that in any way possible? You know, I don't care if it's parades or something else, but how is there no excitement in the church today when it comes to evangelism? It's just the most weirdest thing in the world. So, do I want to make another video and talk about this, or did I say enough? Let's see, I don't usually read from this Bible, but let me grab it. I was kind of debating, what should I do a video about? Should I do one on Ephesians chapter 4? Should I do one on a couple other similar subjects I was thinking about? But let's talk about Ephesians chapter 4. 4 verse 11. And it says, "And he himself gave some to be apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers, for the equipping of the saints, for the work of ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ, till we come to the unity, or till we all come to the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, to a perfect man, to the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ, that we should no longer be children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the trickery of men, and the cunning craftiness of deceitful plotting, but speaking the truth in love, may grow up in all things into him who is the head, Christ, from whom the whole body," I wish I had some water, "joined and knit together by what every joint supplies, according to the effective working by which every part does its share, causes growth of the body for the edifying of itself in love." Can you tell I'm trying to emphasize a part there? So we're all familiar with, you know, some, at least that first verse that I read about apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers. Now, I talk about this verse a lot. Now, some people argue, you know, about apostles and prophets. You know, I'm not going to get into that. But nobody argues about the pastor or the teacher, right? I mean, we are treated or benefit from the pastor or teacher position every Sunday, right? But nobody ever talks about the evangelist. Now, what does it say that these positions are for? It says, "For the equipping of the saints for the work of ministry." Now, going back to how come we don't have teaching ever about evangelism. Now, the evangelist in here specifically is a person that teaches evangelism. The evangelist isn't someone who's out there sharing the gospel. That's everybody's responsibility in some way, shape, or form. Agree? This person specifically is for the edifying of the body of Christ. You know, fast forward to verse 16. I love this language here. "From whom the whole body joined and knit together by what every joint supplies, according to the effective working by which every part does its share, causes growth of the body for the edifying of itself in love." So, we benefit from the pastor / teacher. Some people argue, are they two separate things or one thing altogether? Is it the fivefold ministry or the fourfold ministry? Whatever. We benefit from that person every week, right? But I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, would be hard-pressed to think about a time when the evangelist was utilized to teach on evangelism. Or heck, even if you just had a Sunday or whatever, excuse me, some time off just to go through the basic training course with Ray Comfort, and have him be the evangelist, even though he's not technically there, but still, it's something, right? Or some other program if you want. That's just never utilized. Again, it's pretty sad when, in Manitowoc, northeastern Wisconsin area, I can only think of one time when evangelism was ever taught to the adults for one day, one back corner of the week. And, I think part of it too is because nobody's asking about it. Like, again, I got the training course in like maybe 2015, advertised it over and over again, not a single person stepped forward wanting to do it. It's the people that don't want it, evidently. Remember that show I talked about? There's 4 episodes, The Adventures of Roman and George. It's kind of I love that show a lot. I've never seen the 4th episode, but basically it's real quick, just the adventures of 2 people. They just learned about evangelism. In the first episode, you find out one of them's not even saved, but they learn how to use the law and the gospel effectively. A lot of humor ensues, and it's a great show. And I was just about to say, where am I going with this again? In the first episode, the main character, is it Roman? Yeah, I think it's Roman. He talks to this lady who's interviewing him, and he's like, oh yeah, I went to this evangelism training seminar thing at church, and he was the only one there while the rest of the church was in the basement for some, like, what was like a ping pong tournament or something like that. And that's so true with, my observation and really everyone else's observation that, people that do get the gospel out, that they participate in evangelism. I hear the same thing from everyone else. It's not just, from my own experience, but everyone else has very similar stories. The church doesn't care. They're often, the way I say it about myself is kicked to the curb and left for dead, which is, kind of what happened at another place a number of years ago, right before this channel was created. They just, they start to turn on you. Christians start to turn on you because you talk about evangelism too much. I've lost a lot of friends actually on Facebook. People I've known for many, many years, locally and abroad. They just delete you all of a sudden, and you find out because they just don't like you talking about evangelism so much. And they never talk about it once. That's just, it's so sad. You hear these statistics all the time. Like, just recently, I think it was like 70% of professing Christians do not have a biblical worldview. I think it was 70%, maybe it was more than that. Guys, that is big deal. That is crazy. If 70%, I think it was more than that, 70% of professing Christians, not Americans, no, we're talking about professing Christians, do not have a biblical worldview. And these are like important doctrines, not just, what's your belief on the rapture? And you go off of what, someone decides is the biblical view of the rapture. Not talking about that. And then, you hear statistics that Ray Comfort has shared, way back when, that only 2% of Christians share their faith regularly. My experience is not, I don't even think it's that much. I don't know, but, where is the passion? Like, if more Christians wanted to learn how to share the gospel and they went to their pastor, would he finally, get his butt in gear and allow some program at church? I don't know. I mean, I've been advertising for a long time. Hey guys, let's just go through this Way of the Master training course. Let's just do it verbatim. I would tell people this too, to show them how serious I am. I would say, even if the only time you can do this is 3 o'clock in the morning and it's just you and me and I have to drive over to your house, I'll be there. If that's the only way that we can do this. And again, no offers, but and I'm serious about that too. I'm sure, nobody would want to do that at 3 in the morning, but I would be down for that. But the point is, though, the people aren't interested. The pastor's the one that really should be, because everyone sees the pastor, right? It always kind of grieved me that, like, when we went to parades, now I started doing parades in 2013. I did, other stuff before that, since 2005, really, when I learned about sharing the gospel through Way of the Master or Living Waters. But 2013 is when things really took off because I met my friend Trevor, which allowed me to meet other people, still, far away distances like Green Bay, Appleton area, and just one person here, one person there, and I've met, a couple more people, throughout the years, which is really awesome. Don't get me wrong. Now, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so yeah, the leadership, different churches and such, like, they see us going out and doing stuff, and sometimes they'll, think that's cool, but they never. Yeah, I'll share this story. So, okay, this is before parades, though. This is 2008, I believe, right before I got married. My friend Steve. Now, I talked about before how people never took me under their wing to help me. Everybody knew I was interested in sharing the gospel, even before 2005 to some extent, but mostly in 2005 and onward. Everybody knew I was interested, but nobody ever took me under their wing because there was nobody. There was no evangelist or anybody who even cared about evangelism or getting the gospel out. Before I get to my story with Steve, this is kind of a blemish, I guess, in my theology, but the first church I was going to, they were promoting The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. I have some thoughts on that. I know it's going to be unpopular. I'm not going to get into that now. I'm just going to say I have some thoughts on that aren't very positive. But back then, I thought it was awesome, right? Because I thought, oh, goody, goody, goody. We're going to get a bunch of people into the church, right? So they were doing the whole 40 Days of Purpose thing and having special sermons each week during that time. And we read a chapter a day. And I just thought it was awesome. I actually still have my book somewhere, and I have like a whole bunch of highlights, and I just thought it was the greatest thing. I was pretty much a new Christian at the time, mind you. And I was a part of the team to get this whole thing going in small groups and stuff. And I remember watching a video by Rick Warren, which really was one of the first things that kind of, other than reading even though I highlighted a bunch of stuff, but reading the book, I started to feel kind of weird about it. Like, something just doesn't seem right. I can't put my finger on it. But we watch this video sometime, and one of the purposes, and pastors get letters in the mail all the time about how to grow your church. I thought it was Jesus that added to the church, but how to grow your church, all these stupid tactics and such. And Rick Warren was saying how, if you do all this stuff, you're going to grow your church. It was some big number, 83%, or some junk like that. But anyway, I was so zealous and so excited. Again, my heart was there. I just, this wasn't the right way to go about it, but I'm going to buy a whole bunch of these purpose-driven life books. Seriously, I was going to do this. And I wanted to take my friend Brad and go to the community-built playground in Manitowoc. If you guys are from here, you would know what that is. And I just wanted to start distributing those books and inviting them to our small group. Excuse me. And I just thought that, okay, this is going to be great. But nobody wanted to, encourage me to do that. And this is their program, right? Oh, Kurt, no, we're not supposed to do evangelism, and that's a little too much, right? So I think that's one of the first times I felt the awkwardness of even talking about trying to get the gospel out, even if it was a bad way, in my opinion, anyway. But anyway, fast forward to that 2008 with Steve. He's a great guy. He actually stood up at my wedding. He's one of my groomsmen, I think they're called. So he was pretty much the only exception with as far as people taking me under their wing. It wasn't that much, but it was something, and I appreciated it. And that's actually how I met him. I don't know if it was 2008 or 2007. 2008 was when I got married, but it might have been 2007. I don't know. But it was announced at church, hey, if you want to go out with Steve and share the gospel or whatever, however it was announced, I don't know. Just connect with him, write your name on this thing, whatever. So I did, and I was the only one that showed up on the Saturday morning. It's kind of funny, after prayer meeting, because the guys got together Saturday morning for prayer, and it was right after that, everybody else scattered, right? Yep, and so we went out, just me and him. I got to know him, and I was really excited too, because I honestly, guys, I never really had any Christian friends, and he's, is not too much older than me. Maybe 12-ish years older than me now. But yeah, it was great to finally have a brother in Christ that cared about some of the same things I did, because I really didn't have anybody. Except my friend Aaron from North Carolina, but that's a whole other story. So we went out for a walk and started talking to people out on the street, and it was just very basic. It was just getting my foot wet, right? It just went around. We had a notepad. He gave me one too, and just asking people, "Hey, do you need prayer for anything?" And then we'd start a conversation that way. When you talk to like two people, the second group of people is a husband and a wife. It's kind of funny. Like, it was the atheist husband and Christian agnostic wife, or vice versa. It's really bizarre. But he just, he did all the talking, and I was just kind of there learning. But it was an experience, very, very shallow, kind of. Like, it wasn't a whole lot, but it was something. All right, okay, this is a good start, right? And sometime after that, we went out to the Manitowoc Airport. Used to have this thing every year, the air show, Thunder on the Lake Shore or something like that. So we go out there, and the pastor and his lackeys, or one of the other elders and a couple other people, they were out there, for the air show, but they knew that we were going to go out there. We actually made up our own gospel tracts, I believe. And me and him, I'm really nervous. Like, okay, this is my first time actually going to interact with someone and try to share the gospel with them, right? Or maybe not the first time, because there was the incident with my friends Kelly and Christine, which I have to share that story sometime from 2006. Yeah. Anyway, besides that, this is kind of my first time really doing a mission, other than trying to share with those two girls. I'll tell you about that some other time. Very heartbreaking story, heart-wrenching story. Lost three awesome friends, actually. I have scars when it comes to evangelism, but when you love people enough, you get the gospel out. You try to, anyway, even though that was a whole disaster. But talk about it some other time. Anyway, so Steve and I are at the airport. Pastors there and some other higher ups of the church. Guys, you wouldn't believe it. They were walking away from us like, oh, we don't want nothing to do with, these guys out sharing the gospel. It was the craziest, weirdest thing. And Steve pointed it out, and I always remember that from that point onward. I wasn't very bitter at this point yet of Christians in general when it comes to sharing the gospel and the lack of passion. I wasn't really quite there yet. But I started to see it more and more. And I remember Steve voicing his opinion on that, how the church just kind of blew us off. And boy, we've gotten a lot more of that in the coming years, me and my friend Luke, but different story for another time. And hundreds of stories within that whole main story. But, where was I going with this now? So I don't know where I was going with that, but other than to say, though, is that even, the higher ups of the church, they just totally distanced themselves from us. There was, nobody cared, really. That was kind of, that was the only time when somebody kind of took me under their wing, I guess, and then until 2013. Now, I got married in 2008. I was living in Appleton then. When I moved back to Manitowoc, my friend Steve moved to Appleton, so we kind of swapped. It's kind of like, oh man, come on, you're like the real only guy I know. But anyway, for all those years and years, up until 2013, I really didn't have anybody to take me under their wing or to go do evangelism with. So I'm always by myself for the most part, leading gospel tracts in places and things like that. Did a lot of stuff online, MySpace ministry, Eternal Truth. I think I started that in 2012. But all kinds of other stuff before that, just doing whatever I can with my comfort level, which, I was still very nervous and such, but when there's a will, there's a way. You can't just bottle that up. I mean, you can for a little bit, but it's going to eventually, like you shake up a soda can or whatever, it's going to, some point pop. You get all that pressure in there, you try to bottle that excitement up to share the gospel. You want people to be saved. The end of man. That should motivate you to share the gospel. How can it not? And if not that, then it's a command from God, right? We obey the king's orders, right? But there should be excitement there. I mean, a lot of us have a lot of opinions about the president of the United States right now. Some people would say not the president, but, that's such a high honor, though, to do something. If the president called you into service to do something, that's a high honor. This is the king of the universe, and he is perfect, unlike the president, right? And he calls us to evangelize, to share the gospel, go into all the world and preach the good news to all creation. And we just don't care. We won't take it seriously. We're not trying to learn how. Excuse me. My theory is that maybe we don't want to learn how to share the gospel is because now we have that conscience in us, like, oh, well, I just learned how to share the gospel. Now I have to go out and share the gospel, and I really don't want to. It's like when that one time when it was taught in 2013 after I met my friend Trevor, none of those people came out with us. I think that's what I was getting at. When it comes to like leadership and stuff, they had never come out, except that there's one time we did a lot of events, not just parades, but we did a bunch of other events. We went to like different concerts and stuff. Just a couple blocks away from the church, mind you. And only one time did the pastor come out to lend his support. It was during a garden fair, garden something. It's during the day, just a lot of people come, buy stuff. Washington Park is just full of vendors, a lot of people, and they're handing out gospel tracts, and the pastor was there to observe it. Now, this is the only time that I couldn't be there, because I think I had to work that day, but he kind of brought it up at church one time. He's like, oh yeah, it's so cool watching people grab the tracts and you can see them, you can watch them. I was watching them walk away and they were actually reading them. He gave had a high view of that, right? That was the only time, but never came out to support us ever since, and nobody else did either after that. It's I think that's what I wanted to get to as well. When the pastor doesn't support something and talk about something, or even doing it himself, not saying he has to do everything, but he's a person that everybody sees, and for whatever reason we adore our pastor. We put him up too high up on the pedestal. I really believe that most of us do. I've done that before with different people, but we do. Let's just face the facts, we do. And but they're the face of the church, basically, right? If they just promote evangelism just a little bit more, maybe something else can happen. Maybe. When I created this channel, and I've shared this before, or at least what I've done afterwards, I wrote basically 70 letters to different churches across the U.S. And the reason why I made this channel, again, is to have video footage to show people, once I write these letters, hey guys, this is how easy it is to do a parade. And if you see my main parade video, my main parade instructional video, I talk about all the reasons why we should do parades and such. My hope is that, well, number one, saturate communities with the gospel. Number two is all the side benefits. You if you're shy like me, and I share my testimony of doing a parade, how that really sparked something more in me to get out and do more. If you know my background, how shy I am, it's pretty crazy. And all these different things. Your kids see you, they want to get involved. It starts a lifetime of evangelism in you, right? So I sent out 70 letters, and you want to know how many I heard back from? Just take a guess. So me and my daughter, we prayed. I prayed over all these different churches. They were sent out in groups. Like one time was like 35. The next time was around 35, so I just say 70. It was, so many months apart, but we prayed over, okay, which church should we select? I had this map of different churches. These are all Calvary chapels. I don't know if that says anything or not, but because I was going to Calvary Chapel at the time, and their website had it really easy to find other Calvary chapels because you type in like a zip code or something like that, or just look on the map and you see all these pins everywhere. Okay, it's really easy to find churches, and I believe these churches are all right, so let's just pick from them for now, right? So I picked out 70 ultimately. Oh, you know what? I think I might have a letter with me, because maybe like 3 of them got sent back because no mail receptacle. This one, Engage Calvary. Not all of them were Calvary chapels. Like 99% or 95% of them were, or something like that. But this one right here, it's probably going to be in reverse. But I wrote down ATTN, right? Attention, I think that means. And then wrote pastor or evangelism leader right there. Okay. Um, and then I'm just looking at some notes I wrote on the other side of this for some reason. Sleep, bowling, golfing, Spider-Man, walk, Pastor Wayne's thing, park, disking, bike ride, dog, and video. I don't know what that means. But let me, well, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I actually read the whole thing in one of my, first videos, I think, or the first, several videos I made. But anyway, so I sent out these letters, right? About 70 of them. So how many people wrote back or called me or emailed me, because I think I left all my contact information in there, links to the video and all that good stuff, telling them to talk to their congregation. Do you know anyone who's interested in evangelism? Get in contact with them, guys. I really want to see the gospel go forth. This is such an awesome thing, and I kind of explained some of those benefits and such. I even left them a sample gospel tract, a $1 Million Bill gospel tract, one of my favorite ones. It's the Freedom Cash from Tract Planet. Just to show them, okay, this is a sample tract that you can give out. People just gobble them up like candy. It's awesome. How many people do you think responded to them? Goose egg, 0. Zip, zada, none. Not a single person responded. So, I don't know. I mean, try to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they received it. I mean, they have no obligation to respond. They don't have to respond. I absolutely agree with that. But just kind of wonder, I just kind of wonder. Something else, too, I talk about a lot. I know I'm just touching on all these subjects that I want to talk about. I thought I was just going to talk about how awesome it was to do 500 gospel tracts and encourage you guys to do that because it's so easy. And here I am talking about 1,000 other things. But one thing that really kind of irks me a little bit is that, I can't really think of a time when someone tried to share the gospel with me without knowing that I was a Christian, right? Can't really think of a time. There might have been one time, maybe 2 times. It's not coming to me right now. But, interesting question to ask you. How many times has somebody tried to share the gospel with you? As a Christian, them not knowing that you're a Christian. Or how many times have you seen someone else share the gospel? Now that I can say one other time or 2 other times, because we were doing parades and surprise, surprise, there's actually other Christians doing parades too who I didn't even know about. So that was really awesome. But when I see that, though, the thing is, I get super, super excited. Like, I want to do a backflip. I'll probably break my back or my neck. But I get so fired up seeing new Christians or people who are new to evangelism or who have been doing it for a while. Guys, that fires me up. And I hope it fires other people up. I know it doesn't fire my friends, the Christian church here up when they see me get excited. I just can't understand why they wouldn't be excited. But anyway, so the thing is that we've given out thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of gospel tracts over the years. Not all of them we had our contact information on them, but a lot of them, maybe half of them, over, since 2013. Maybe, let's just say half of them, roughly. Had some kind of contact information on there, email address, whatever. And what I think about is that, okay, I'm handing these gospel tracts out. Surely, of the thousands of people who are at a parade, surely some of them are going to be Christians, right? I mean, just statistics. So you would think that if they get a gospel tract, a biblical gospel tract, mind you, that they would be excited. Like, yes, someone's out there sharing the gospel. Yes. I have friends, unsaved friends and whatnot. I want them to get the gospel. It's really hard for me to reach my family and friends or whatever, but, or coworkers, but yes, they're getting the gospel that can save their soul. This great, glorious gospel. In my mind, I'm thinking that's happening, right? And if it was me who got a gospel tract, dude, I would be like all over that. If they had contact information on there, I'd call that person up, email them immediately, and just encouraging them, saying I'm praying for them, whatever, right? Now, how many times has somebody emailed us or gotten a hold of us after they have, gotten the gospel tract or something from us? I just want to make sure I have the right number in my head. Oh wait, it's 0. Can you see why I get frustrated sometimes with the local church and the church at large? And you just feel like they don't care about the gospel. Now, I'm pretty sure it's 0. I'm not sure if I don't think there was a time because I would remember that. A couple of times though, unbelievers have emailed me, maybe like 3 times. Um, One time and I talked about this in one of my Where to Leave Gospel Tracts videos, I believe. I wrote on a $1 million bill for the elevator guy, and I slipped it in between that crack when the elevator opens, so it goes down into the shaft. And it wasn't that much longer later. It took me a while to see the email because I don't check that email very often. But he actually wrote back, he's like, "Thanks a million," and he took a picture of it and showed me that he got it. That was like really awesome. Wow. Um, but I think there's like maybe 1 or 2 other times when an unbeliever actually emailed us. And I would expect probably that to happen. What's crazy though is that believers, you would think that they'd be praying for you. I mean, come on, right? I'm your brother in the Lord. I'm doing this, or the friends who are with me or whatever. It's like, where's the I'm trying to. Sometimes I try to be wordy and I just can't think of like bigger words. If I'm writing it out, I could, but when I'm doing something off the cuff, I can't think of anything. But where's like the I can't think of it, but where's the excitement? Where's the high view of the gospel proclamation? Sometimes when we're out like preaching the gospel, the Appleton Bar Outreach, somebody will be walking by and they'll say something to us that signifies that they're a Christian and they're giving their approval of what we're doing, but then they just kind of, like, okay, I'm going to get out of here now. I feel uncomfortable. But, at least there's that, right? Maybe sometimes they might say that they're praying for us, but somehow they indicate that, they're happy that we are there before they go off, right? So at least there's that a couple of times. But, yeah, there should be hundreds and hundreds of Christians that we've given gospel tracts out to at least. You think one of them would be happy about it and excited and saying that they're praying for us or whatever. Again, I don't want applause, guys. That's not the point. It's just that you do this for so long, you're a lone ranger for so long, it really does start to grind at you because the Bible talks so much about working together where every part does its share, like we just read in Ephesians, which is more. Romans 12, 1 Corinthians talks about it. Just being the body of Christ. Guys, I can't tell you. I know I sound like I'm complaining a lot, probably, and you shouldn't be complaining, but just hear me out. I can't tell you how many times I've had ideas for different things to get the gospel out. Lots and lots and lots of ideas. Today I was just actually made a post about this on Facebook, but I'm always limited because I don't have a skill. I'm always having computer issues, and there's not a single Christian who will come and help me with something. One story I think about is I did some exit movie flyers. I was going out to do some exit movie flyers. I think I made a video about that day too, and the night before that, but I made a post on Facebook because I was having issues trying to print out a map of the Kimberly area I wanted to go out to. This is after the pastor committed suicide of the really big popular church in the Appleton area, Christ the Rock. Unfortunately, a pastor, very popular, committed suicide. And I just thought it would be appropriate and wise to get out the exit movie flyers that I had made back then. And anyway, so I'm on Facebook. I'm kind of letting people know, hey guys, this is what's up. I'm having computer problems just printing something out, just printing on the map. Because I wanted to, mark down where I've been and such, and just have maps of the streets and whatever. And hey guys, can you just, I'll drive to your house. Can you just please print off like one thing for me, or help me out, figure out how to do this? Not a single word from anybody, and it's things like that happen all the time when I need help with something. God, oh man, there's so much I want to do on my YouTube channel, but I don't have the ability, technology, the know-how. My thumbnail. If you notice my thumbnail, like it's kind of cut off on the bottom. I got the Parade the Gospel PTG, and it's just kind of cut off, kind of at a slant. Because you have that stupid circle thing there that YouTube used to not have. I thought it would just cover that top part, but something with the sizing just didn't work out. And I'm always asking people, hey, can you help me with a thumbnail? I could really use some help with that. And there's not a single soul anywhere that can help me with even simple things like that, right? I'm not, artsy. I don't have great programs on my computer. But guys, there's always something I want to do. When I was doing the Eternal Truth stuff, there is so many times I had technical issues, and even right now I don't do that anymore because I'm having technical issues. And you can kind of see my mess right here. I got this is called the fast track. We have a compressor. We have my soundboard right here. I have a Nintendo 64 controller in the way, but having lots of problems with that. And my program doesn't work for it. It's called Edit Pro 2.0. I know it's so totally outdated, but it's the only program I know about where I can record audio with all that stuff connected to it. I'm just having problems with that and problems with computers shutting down all the time. And it's crazy, guys, but there's not a single person out there who wants to help for the glory of God to help get the gospel out. So I'm stuck here. I have ideas that are years old or years on pause because I don't know what I'm supposed to do because I don't have the help. Nobody from church wants to help, even though there's a bunch of, what do you call them? You have gearheads, people who are good with cars. What are they called? Tech heads? I don't know. A bunch of those people, but like, it's the gospel. Come on, who cares about that? We gotta make our church service all nice and spiffy and have a great online display for people, for the 2 people that watch it, but getting that gospel out, it's just, I don't know, it's just so crazy. So, what else can I talk about now that I'm just kind of unleashing everything tonight? I don't want to sound like I'm, so bitter and complaining and such, but, these are just the things that go through my mind. I started out talking about the 500 gospel tracts and how, guys, let that be an encouragement. If you've not given out gospel tracts before or very little, please try a parade. I've actually wanted to make a couple of different videos. I did kind of mention it real quick in the parade video I just put out, how I've always wanted to make a video of handing out 100 gospel tracts and timing myself. So I want to show you guys and just make a fun video and just have fun with it. Guys, let's see how long it takes to get 100 gospel tracks out and just be like boom, 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 boom. Because I think I've said before, like it takes like 5 minutes. Just get yourself a pack of 100 gospel tracks and spend 5 minutes getting the gospel out. And, see how awesome and encouraged you're going to be. So, yeah, I've always wanted to do that. I haven't done it yet. I've always been trying to find help with a person to film us giving out gospel tracts in the parade because it's really hard using my cell phone. I just think make a better quality video. Can't find anybody though. I'm sure I know people have good filming equipment that would be able to do it. The second thing I wanted to mention, oh man, I can't remember what I was going to say now. Oh yeah. Is something kind of important too, I think. So I was talking about wanting to make, oh yeah. So I've always wanted to make a video too about giving out, having a budget, setting aside a budget, $100, $200, and I would replenish that every month or so. And I would have different asterisks, with this offer. Like, if you've not given out gospel tracts before and you can't afford, 100 gospel tracts, if you promise you're going to do a parade, I'll buy you 100 gospel tracts. Just send me your mailing address. I'll order it for you because I have this money set aside. I'll order you 1 or 2 packs, and you go and deliver those gospel tracts. I want you to be encouraged. I want you to have a start to your lifestyle of evangelism. I've always wanted to make a video like that, right? And just, some financial difficulty. Yeah, buying a house with so many projects that need to be done. So I'm kind of put that on hold for now. But I just, because I want you guys to be encouraged. I want you guys to see how easy it is. gospel tracts be a great tool for evangelism to overcome your fears. Talk about parade so much because it is that easy, and I hope that it helps to overcome your fears and getting the gospel out. So, how long have I been going? I'm on Facebook Live right now because it keeps the files a lot smaller, and using my phone. So I just once it's uploaded to Facebook, I just download it, and the file is very small and bite sized, and it's easier to upload that way, and it's just a lot easier all around. So I think I'm just gonna stop right now. Probably more I could say, guys, but please do a parade. Not much time left. If you're in the northeastern Wisconsin area, I know my friend Richard wants to do New London. I'm going to try. I really wanted to do Amro, which is by Oshkosh area. And there's a reason why I wanted to go out there. Two reasons. One, because I haven't done that parade yet. And two, because I really want to reach somebody, a really, really old friend of mine I haven't seen in forever. She might not even, and her family might not even be at that parade, but it's the closest town that's near Kewanee, or not Kewanee, Winneconne. And I just keep thinking, maybe I can reach them in that parade. I haven't seen them in like 20 or more, way more than 20 years actually. But oh gosh, it's been like 30 years now. But I think about them sometimes. They used to live down the street from us. I think I might know where they live, or at least the parents. I wanted to drop off a Gospel of John at the very least. But anyway, I wanted to do that parade, but I don't think I can get off of work early enough, so maybe I'll do Freedom. I think Michael might be doing Freedom, but I'll join him. I'm not going to tell him. Maybe I'll just surprise him and I'll do the other side of the parade. Unless he sees this video now, he knows. But because that's probably the best bet I have as far as how timing would work and everything. And it's not too far away from me. If I just leave right after work and just get dressed in the van, we'll see. But guys, 8 parades on Saturday, December 4th. Please, if you're in the area, try to do one. Try to do one in your area, whatever state you are in. So, anyway, for the 2 people that made it this far, sorry if it sounded like I was complaining too much. Maybe I should do more just kind of laid back things like this and just talk about different stories and things. I really want to talk about my my first evangelism experience with my really, really good friends back in 2006. It was a failed experience. Like, I tried to share the gospel with one person, I lost all 3 friends. And there's a very important reason why these were such good friends. I could talk about that. And it left a scar, guys. I lost 3 of the best people in the world as friends because I tried to share the gospel with one of them, and I totally botched it. There's a whole story around that, and I can't wait to share it. And I think about them a lot even today. And I have dreams. I just had a dream just the other night. Haven't talked to them since then, really. But I had a dream about talking to one of them, and how I wanted to share the gospel with one of them, and there's more stories too with that, like how much I love these people. So much so that I actually wanted to trade my salvation for these people, especially this one person of that group, and they're all friends. The 3 of them, 2 of them are twin sisters, and another girl. Now, when I say I love them, I'm not talking about like that kind of love. Just so you know, I am married. Even back then, we were just friends, but they were so close to me. And there's a reason. Again, there's a very, very important reason why they were so close to me. But I'll get into that some other time. So, yeah, I was thinking about sending one of them an email this Christmas. I think I tried before, and they never. I don't even know if they've seen it. Just say, hey guys, Merry Christmas. I know we haven't talked in forever, and just saying hi. So, I don't know. One of them actually doesn't live too far away from me, like walking distance, really. I'm not sure the exact address, but I just know that she lives nearby. I've seen them a couple of times biking to work. Said hi to them, and I don't know if they have too many good thoughts towards me still, even after all these years, but it's not to talk about them. Maybe I should stop this video and just talk about that right away since I'm in a talking mood right now. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. We'll see. It's 8:10 right now. I got, stuff to do, but all right, guys. God bless. Yeah. Why? I was just saying. I just stopped for a second. Like, why did I share that story? But where was I going with that? How did I get there? I don't know. Maybe just to tease you guys for the next thing. Oh yeah, because I was talking about how, maybe I should do more videos like this and share stories and things. So, all right. God bless, guys. Do a parade. Okay. Do a parade. That's the point of this video. That's like an hour long. Do a parade. All right. And write me back because I want to know your experience. All right. God bless.